All right, everyone's favorite governor, Kathy Hochul, New York, of course, is pandering again. I mean, what else is new? It's New York, so you got some machine politics going on there in Albany. It ain't just New York City. Kathy Hochul deciding to form a reparations commission. Where have we seen this before? Oh, that's right, California. What ended up happening in California? It fell through. In the end, the commission is like, your suggestions aren't really workable. Maybe we can kind of sort of plan for like 5% of what you're asking, but, a lot of you don't even descend from slaves, so we're not exactly sure what you want. Newsom coming out basically echoing the same thing, and then getting curb stomped by the id-pollers for it. Kathy Hochul is actually being smart. She knows that so long as the commissions are very, very slow. It's like in the state of Vermont. Commission after commission has been trying to hook up an Amtrak line from Burlington to Point South. They've been trying to extend that line through Rutland, actually, which would be good for the local economy. Years have gone by. I was a little kid when they started making commissions about that. So that perpetually falls through. They've wasted millions of dollars and thousands of man-hours discussing something that'll never fucking happen. What about with Vermont's plan to have universal health care? That was imposed by Shumlin. Shumlin, pretty far left dude, about the same as Phil Scott. Phil Scott, the anti-gun traitor, the traitorous rhino, who also has TDS. Thanks, Gov. What a stand-up fucking guy you are. Commissions are formed. Years later, they say, well, yeah, it's not workable. Sorry we wasted millions of dollars. Oh, yeah, and then that Gruber fellow that helped to oversee the creation of Obamacare got sued by our state for about 500,000 smackaroonies for embezzling by making it seem as though he was working different hours than he actually was. He attempted to embezzle about $500,000 from myself and other taxpayers in the state of Vermont. Thanks, Shumlin. Not that it really matters who the governor is when you get a supermajority of far leftists in both chambers in our state Congress. This will do the same thing. What Hochul wants is to slow walk it. Very, very slow. It looks good on paper. Oh, look at how woke I am as a white liberal. And this is what they do to hoodwink black voters, by the way. I hope that they understand this, that this is a sham. They're not going to give you reparations. New York was never a slave state. None of you have been enslaved, or unless you immigrated recently from Boko Haram territory or Libya or something, you weren't a slave. Many of you don't have a slave ancestor. Believe it or not, hey, Kathy, to be clear, there are black people in the country who descend from people who came from other parts of the world post-slavery, especially, post-JFK era when they loosened up the immigration restrictions and started taking people in from places other than Eastern Asia and Europe, basically, and sometimes Russia, depending on the political climate, of course. Haha. So are they going to get reparations? What if you're half black? Do you get half the reparations? By the way, where's the reparations for Native Americans? Can I get 1/16 of that, or supposedly, on paper, if I can establish, the fact that supposedly I have an Abenaki, like, great-great-great-grandfather or something like that? Where's their reparations? Does it apply to all of BIPOC, or just to specifically black people? And would it apply to East Africans, or just to, like, West and Central Africans? This is the typical wine-totaling, NIMBYist, white liberal thing. They pander and they never deliver. I can guarantee every black voter in the state of New York, you're not going to get a goddamn penny. You're more likely to have some charity network or church get together a bunch of money to pay off all the black people in New York than you are to get the government to do it. It'd get shot down if they tried. It would be ruled unconstitutional. You can't simply rob taxpayer money, which is all that the government can have. The government doesn't produce anything. It just shuffles others' money around. You can't rob the taxpayers and then pay people off based on the color of their skin when you can't even necessarily determine that they had a slave as an ancestor. In a free state, by the way, that was always part of the Union, New York didn't have slavery. Neither, by the way, did California. It was incepted as a free state. So what the fuck are you smoking? What if somebody is black and they recently moved to the state? Like, is there going to be a cutoff, like you had to have been a resident in the state for 10 years before you qualify or something like that? There's going to be, if they did impose anything like that, it'd be full of regulatory riders. You know it. I know it. I think that the voters of New York know it. It's just pandering. It's the white liberal thing. Kathy Hochul, at the end of the day, goes back to her mansion. Or she takes a day trip out to Martha's Vineyard or goes and visits in Rehoboth Beach with Biden or something like that. She's a rich bitch. She's a millionaire. She doesn't have anything in common with all of the disenfranchised minorities in New York, of which there are many, by the way. Yeah, there's plenty of poverty in New York. You got mainly white poverty in the Catskills, and then you've got general poverty in the kind of sort of Rust Belt side over by Rochester and stuff. And New York City definitely has areas you don't want to go to after dusk. Some that you wouldn't want to go to at all. That's definitely a thing. But yeah, number one, it's not race-based. Plenty of people are impoverished around the country that aren't black. What are you going to say, by the way, to Hispanic voters, which are rising up swiftly as a voting bloc in many parts of the United States? I guess New York hasn't had that inversion yet, and so they don't care as much. Yeah, Kathy Hochul looked at the demographic data. Well, there's still more black voters than there are Hispanics, so yeah, this pandering makes sense. Then when the commission falls flat, maybe you'll pander to the Hispanic voters, say, well, we're going to have a reparations commission for the Hispanic voting base due to, intergenerational wrongs. They were wronged. Someone's grandparents had to wade across the Rio Grande, and so even though now you're a millionaire, you get money. By the way, is there going to be a wealth cutoff? So this black person became a brain surgeon, so, they don't need the money. This black person washes dishes, so quite clearly we're going to give them a bunch of money. What do you think, by the way, that money would generally be spent on? Right now, under Bidenomics, people are being crushed. They're going to spend it on basic necessities. They're not going to buy a home with their reparations, unless they're goddamn batshit. They're not going to buy a car. They're not going to be able to afford it. And if they do, then they're dumb, because their income hasn't risen at all. They're not going to invest it. It's not going to stay in New York. Hell, with the tax rate in New York, people that can go across the border to go shopping. Hell, New Yorkers come to fucking Vermont to go shopping with the tax rate and cost of living as high as it is in some parts of New York. New York City the intelligent New York City workforce lives in fucking New Jersey or Connecticut, the low tax state of Connecticut. I mean, can you goddamn? I wonder why your state has systemic issues. No, you should give reparations to all New Yorkers for having to live in New York. I mean, New York City and Albany basically run policy for every other part of the state. That's why you've got massive state gun control, and yet you've got the Catskills where it's literally Redneckville. It doesn't make any goddamn sense, but this is pandering. It will fall through. This is her way of slow walking it to look good on paper, punt it past the next election, and then drop the issue. That's basically, it's part of her re-election bid more than anything else. I would think that there are bigger problems that she could be addressing right now, like, hey, New York City is overrun with hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants. Hey, the crime rate's rising. Hey, poverty is seeping out across the Catskills. Hey, our industry is drying up and dying because of the state regulatory policy being even more onerous than federal policy could ever be. You might want to tackle those issues because those actually affect people. That's about all. Peace out.